On YouTube, making this video of a couple articles I've seen that were presenting their top 10 and potential short squeezes, and I'm going to touch on a couple because be careful what you read. Do your own due diligence. You know, even if you do read the article, when they mention a stock, the statistics they put on there are very selective, and some of them are bullshit. They're true, but they're misrepresented big time. Okay, just like take Works for example. I think that was #1 or #2 in the top 10 potential short squeeze plays in this article. And okay, the selective information was that it had 50% of the float was short. So the short interest, you know, is 50%. It's great. Yeah, that is great. Unless other factors come into play, which aren't mentioned in the article. Like the fact that it had, the float was just 8 million shares. That's it. That's it. People are like, oh, well, low float's great. Yeah, but not when it's too low. Because when it's too low, then that means there's not many shares for other people to jump in to squeeze those 50%. So even if you squeeze those 50%, it's not gonna go that high. It's just not, because it's gonna be too cheap for them to cover, and they're not gonna get they're not gonna get. It's gonna be hard to squeeze them because not enough people are gonna be able to buy into the stock to push it up high enough to actually squeeze them. So they can just say, yeah, go ahead and buy in. Because it's only going to go so high once all the shares are bought in so much that they could just sit there and wait. Or they could buy in cheap. I mean cover cheap. And that's what they do. And that's what they did. Because they just, you know, do it right away. They see it coming and do it right away. Because it's only a tiny bit, so it's not like they're having to double down because their position's already so small for them that they don't mind covering. That's the thing people need to realize, is when it's small enough, they don't mind covering, so they're going to cover right away, so it's not going to squeeze high. You know, and there's, and this article just came out, okay, which is ridiculous, because since this article, you know, this article came out 2 days ago, I think, but since that short interest percentage is 50%, okay, that came out in the last short interest report, which was on the 26th, which covers the last day that was on that report is the 15th. Okay, so there's from the 15th all the way till now, it's not reported, it's not on there. So you don't know if there's less or more, but to give you a little idea of whether there's less or more shares shorted, there's been 7 days since that day 15 it's not on that report. 7 days with volume in the millions. Okay, 7 days with volumes in the millions, and this float only has 8 million total. 4 million available because the other 50% are shorted. So 7 days with multiple millions. Could have covered any time. I mean, especially including 1 day with enough volume. 1 day, just 1 day, one singular day with enough volume. And it was a huge green day. It was 1 day. It was huge. It was up 31% at one point, and it had enough volume that the hedgies or whoever was short could have covered 5 times in just that 1 day, just that one singular day. So did they? I think so. So if it did squeeze, it already did. And it's only 31%. Why? Because it's cheap enough, and they just did it. They're not going to double down. They're just going to dump it. Okay. It's not going to cost them nothing. You know, compared to AMC or any of the other actual big plays. So just keep that in mind, guys. I mean, that one already shot its wad. And it wasn't very big. Because, yeah. Come on, do the math. So just do your own due diligence, guys. Watch out for these. It's insane. You know, okay, even at 4 million shares, that half of the float that was shorted, the highest point, at the very highest point that that stock ever was in the last 20 days, the highest point. So even if they covered at the absolute highest point, it would have only cost them $10.7 million to cover their entire position, all their short positions. 10.7 million. That's why they cover when they on these kind of plays, because they can. 10.7 million ain't shit to them. So be careful, guys. I mean, these articles are bullshit. These articles are just meant to get clicks and reads, so they get viewers. Okay, so don't jump into them with huge conviction and think you're gonna walk out super rich, because most of these that they mention won't. And on the other side, you know, that if they covered, it would only cost 10.7 million. But even if one single person, not tens of thousands or millions of other investors, just one person, one investor besides the hedges that had their short position, one investor held the entire other 50% of the float, the entire thing. The most they would have made is the same amount, 10.7 million. And it would have cost them 31% less than that to get into the play. So even if it was one person, they didn't get rich. So come on, guys, think about that. Think about that. Use your heads. Choose your noggins. Okay, things like works, especially now. If you get in and out, it's just gonna tank. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, it's not financial advice, but be careful. Okay, another one is AHPI. Okay, same thing. Article read, oh, it's got short interest of 55% of the float. Yeah, that's great. Same thing, except for the shares outstanding was only 4 million. The float only 3.4 million. So the share short was only 1.7 million. So you know what that's going to cost them? Absolute. I mean, they'd probably take a dump and spend more money. You know, so nothing like that is ever going to be life-changing money, it's never going to be short squeeze money. It's never going to be a true short squeeze at all. That's a, you know, squeezing a lemon for lemonade, maybe. And just even that one just came out a couple days ago, and that one is dangerous because same thing. Since that short interest report, it said that it had a 1.7 million. It was since the 15th. Okay, the volume in the last 10 days, last 10 trading days, average volume 27 million per day. Average volume. So that's like 15. Okay, that means that they could have covered over 15 times every single day for the last 10 days. 15 times every single day for the last 10 days. Or 158 times. They could have covered 158 times. You don't think they covered? Yes, they covered. So just be careful, guys. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Be careful what you read. Be careful what you invest in. Anytime you see anything about potential short squeeze, do your own due diligence and look into it. Because a lot of these are just fucking traps. So just be careful. And it's not financial advice, but come on, guys. Choose your noggin. Okay? Anyway, it's my opinion. Later, guys. Deuces. Solidify.